Very interesting. I guess as will the results of President Trump's MRI. Jeannie, this is something that came up on Air Force One over the weekend. It came up with Governor Tim Walz, who responded to a very disparaging tweet by the president, or Truth or something, by asking him about the results for the MRI. We know that he had one, Jeannie. We don't know what it was for. And with all the questions, we talked about the New York Times hit piece on the president's health last week, with all the questions about his age, health, cognitive ability, this has come back to the fore. And so reporters asked the president at the back of the jet what the MRI was for. Listen to this back and forth with the president.
If you want to have it released, I'll release it.
Please, can you tell us what they were looking at?
For what, releasing?
No. What part of your body was the MRI looking
I
at?
have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain, because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark, which you would be incapable of doing.
He's always got the zinger in there, Jeannie, but I just want to go back. What part of your body was the MRI looking at? He said, I have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? He said it wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and aced it. Jeannie, I'll just speak for myself. Anytime I've ever had an MRI, I've had a couple of them. First of all, I was very scared to go into this weird dark thing, you know, the claustrophobia, but I was very sure what part of the body they were looking at. What do you make of this answer?
I'm trying to think, Joe. Was it person, woman, man, camera, TV? That was the cognitive test that he aced. Yes, I'm with you, Joe. Every time I've had an MRI, and I am claustrophobic, so I don't like them, you know why you're there. So it's odd the president doesn't know why he's there. Also odd is the fact that this is for a supposedly annual checkup. And then they said, wait, it's going to be semi-annual in October. Nobody explained why. He is the president of the United States. And he was cowed into this essentially by the governor, because what was the president doing midnight on Thanksgiving when the rest of us were celebrating with friends, family, sleeping, drinking, whatever you were doing? He was on Truth Social posting horrific words that even kindergartners know not to say, that are incredibly detrimental about the governor of Minnesota, who came back and said, maybe you're not feeling well and should release the results of your MRI. So I hope we get these results. Of course, in true Trump style, he followed it by telling the reporter, a female reporter as usual, you wouldn't have been able to ace the cognitive test. So there you go. A typical day.
Rick, have you ever had an MRI but didn't know why?
No, I'm not sure I've actually had an MRI, and if I did, I'm pretty confident why I was in there doing it. I try to avoid hospitals as much as possible, but obviously,
I'm so with you on that.
The president has a way of just forgetting what happens inside them, so maybe he's found a better way to deal with it.
They give you headphones, you know, they'll play music for you when you're in there because it's loud and scary. Maybe they just had some great music. Lee Greenwood was playing or something like that. But if we get some details on the MRI, he said he'd release it. We'll have it for you here. Jeannie and Rick will talk about it. We'll put our panel together. Really glad to have these two back together after Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for our panel, even the Monday after. They'll be back in hour 2, Rick Davis and Jeannie Shanzano, as we take a look at what Congress is up to, with lawmakers coming back to town as well today. 12 legislative days until we go home for Christmas, everybody. This is Bloomberg.